This is the story of King Solomon's treasure and the Forsaken Knights of the Templar Order. In the year 1290, during the zenith of the Holy Crusades, a clandestine excavation stirred beneath the sacred grounds of King Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem. Entrusted with the covert mission were the Knights Templar, a legendary order of warriors who delved into the ancient temple's depths in search of divine relics and esoteric knowledge. Their aim was bold: to harness these sacred artifacts against the formidable armies in a war teetering on the brink of despair. This worked well for me last time, so I'm running with it. Do me a solid, y'all. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do everything you can to interact with my videos so it helps push the content that I make for you guys even further so more people can hear my awesome stories. Thank you guys, couldn't do it without you, and stay tuned. Interwoven with this quest was a tale from a time long past, where King Solomon himself grappled with a malevolent entity. A demon, known as Orneus, preyed upon a favored young man, leeching his life force. Distraught, Solomon invoked the celestial might of Archangel Michael through the mystical arts of the Almadal, an arcane practice granting communion with angels. Michael responded, bestowing upon Solomon enchanted rings inscribed with the mystic hexagram, the Seal of Solomon. These rings held the power to bind and command the spirit realm, enabling Solomon to subdue demons and harness their unearthly abilities. Years later, amidst the tempests of the Crusades, two formidable orders of the Templar Knights, the Knights Hospitaller and the Knights of the Holy Sepulchre, stood as battalions against the invading forces. Unbeknownst to them, the armies were aware of the hidden perils beneath Solomon's temple, deviously fed the knights with the cryptic clues. They aimed to unleash a dark force that could turn the tide of the war against the Crusaders. Envisioning untold treasures and divine powers within the temple's ancient walls, the Templars faced a relentless race against time. The shadow of imminent war loomed, with enemy forces amassing at Jerusalem's gates. Amidst murmurs of an impending siege, the Templar Knights, wearied by decades of conflict and diminishing in numbers, braced for a desperate final stand in their stronghold. As darkness fell, a ghostly fog enshrouded the castle and the fields beyond. The air hung heavy with foreboding, as the Templar Knights sensed the approach of an ominous death. Abruptly, a lookout's warning cry was cut short by an assassin's arrow. In the distance, the fog shimmered with thousands of flickering flames, a prelude to a hellish barrage of fire arrows that rained down, igniting chaos within the castle walls. This moment of peril, the Grand Master made a fateful decision. He dispatched 3 of his most valiant knights into the bowels of Solomon's temple. Their sacred mission? To retrieve the holy relics and safeguard them, ensuring their passage back to Europe. As these knights descended into the labyrinth of tunnels, battle resounded from above. The forces, seizing their moment, breached the castle's defenses. The knights held their ground against the onslaught, but it was in the temple's inner sanctum where destiny unfolded. As the battle raged, the 3 knights the Grand Master sent to guard the treasure let themselves into the corridor. Upon entering, they couldn't believe their eyes. They stood in amazement, gazing at the vast amount of treasure laid before them. Of all the treasures that they had plundered up to this point, there was nothing like this one. But as they scanned the room, they quickly noticed something that stood out among the rest of the treasure. 3 black rings, laced in gold, with the Seal of Solomon on them. Could it be? Could the legends they heard be true? They had heard the tale many times, that the rings were given to Solomon by the Archangel Michael himself. They quickly snapped back to reality when they heard swords clashing at the top of the stairs that led to the corridor. They had no choice. They each slid a ring onto their finger as the enemy was approaching quickly. The soldiers overtook their comrades and were on their way to the temple doors when suddenly they burst open, revealing the 3 knights that they had transformed as a result of the unearthly power put forth by the ring. Their eyes dark as the abyss, and they radiated an ominous presence. Wielding otherworldly might, these enchanted knights tore through the enemy ranks with supernatural strength and dark sorcery. The enemy didn't stand a chance, and the battle above ground quickly turned into the favor of the Templars as they rallied behind these formidable beings. Then suddenly, the leader of the Brotherhood stopped their attack, and they reasoned with the Templar soldiers. And in the aftermath of this cataclysmic battle, a mysterious truce emerged, and the Templars, now in possession of the relics and imbued with arcane power, abandoned Jerusalem. As their ships set sail for Europe, the echoes of the supernatural clash resonated, hinting at further mystical adventures and shadowy alliances in the ongoing saga of the Forsaken Knights' enigmatic journey. It was now the year 1295, deep within the heart of medieval France. King Philip IV had just dispatched a group of Templars on a covert mission. Their task was to search for a missing war party that had mysteriously vanished and had been gone for 33 days. The mission was shrouded in secrecy, known only to a select few within the upper echelons of the Vatican and the royal families. These were the Desertus, the Latin word for forsaken, a trio of knights whose existence had become a closely guarded secret. As the legend was told, These 3 knights had been cast out from the rest of the order for dabbling in the dark arts, employing black magic and necromancy when faced with insurmountable odds of 100 against 3. They had thought they had killed all 100 men, but one lone survivor bore witness to their uncanny sorcery. The word spread quickly in surrounding countries. The king couldn't be seen employing such darkness, so he had no choice but to execute them. But the Vatican quickly stepped in, and in return for their lives, they swore an oath of eternal service to them, undertaking the deadliest, darkest, and most mysterious missions. These missions they were never meant to return from, yet always emerged victorious. These Templars were revered not only for their valor in battle, but also for their clandestine quest to hunt down what we now refer to as cryptids, monstrous creatures plaguing the kingdom. Their journey led them to the town of Evoi, the last known whereabouts of the missing soldiers. Reports spoke of their camp being savagely assaulted by an entity of incredible agility, so swift it defied belief. Witnesses recounted how torch flames would extinguish, and the soldiers' screams abruptly ceased in eerie unison. The 3 Forsaken drew near to the dark woods encircling the camp. They dismounted and tethered their horses to a gnarled tree, keen on maintaining the element of surprise. They proceeded through the forest, struck by an eerie silence. No crickets, no whisper of wind, only the cadence of their footsteps, depths at an unsettling sensation of being scrutinized. Immediately, the forest erupted with unnatural sounds, as if unseen entities moved amidst the trees in otherworldly speed. Their heavy thuds on the forest floor signaling their descent. The knights remained concealed in the shadows, their hearts pounding in the inky darkness. The entity's antics matched the chilling descriptions given by those who witnessed them attack the knights' camp. The Forsaken 3 paused, their breasts shallow, and their eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of movement. The unnerving sensation of being watched intensified. It was then that 3 demonic figures emerged from the blackness, making their way towards the knights. They gripped their weapons tightly, eyes gleaming with determination, as they faced off against the vampires. The creatures of the night hissed, their eyes glowing with malevolent intent, fangs glistening in the dim light. The battle erupted into a flurry of action. Swords clashed with fangs, and the forest became a chaotic battleground. The Forsaken Knights, once banished for their dark arts, now harnessed their forbidden powers to combat the beast. Swift movements, supernatural strength, and bursts of dark energy filled the air. One of the knights with uncanny speed evaded a vampire's lunge and struck a decisive blow, sending the creature into a vanishing mist. Their powers locked in a sinister struggle. With a surge of energy, the knight overpowered the creature, forcing it to the ground and delivering its fatal blow. The 3rd vampire was also the eldest and the most formidable. It leaped at the last Forsaken Knight. It was a battle of wits and strength, with the elder vampire's ancient knowledge pitted against the Dark Knight's sorcery. In an epochal clash, the 3rd Knight channeled his forbidden magic. Red electricity surged throughout the vampire, weakening him, and then he delivered the final blow with his sword. The last vampire was defeated, dissipating into ashes. The forest, once fraught with tension in the presence of malevolence, fell into an eerie silence once more. The Forsaken Knights stood victorious, their breasts heavy, their armor marred with dark residue. They had faced and conquered the forces that were plaguing the kingdom. However, their triumph was tinged with uncertainty. The presence of these vampires hinted at a larger, more ominous threat that loomed outside of the kingdom. As they stood among the remnants of their supernatural adversaries, the Forsaken Knights realized that their quest had only just begun, and the darkest of secrets were yet to be unveiled in their perilous journey. Alright y'all, when I found this story, I just had to tell it. For one, I haven't told very many vampire stories in my whole repertoire of content, so I wanted to tell this one. I thought it was really cool and very intriguing. I love how it incorporated King Solomon's treasure, which the beginning about the Archangel and the rings, that is a legend, or that has been told for generations. It just tied it into the Templar Knights and the vampires and these Forsaken Knights they speak of. Now, of course, this is border on the line of fiction, but you never know. These stories have to be conjured from somewhere, so at the end of the day, you never know what possibilities may be out there. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Stay tuned, stay fresh, stay clean, and stay in the love, stay in the light. Be kind to others. I am out.